Hey guys, how you doing? Hayz here. In this video, I want to go through my patch 13 thoughts and just what I honestly personally think about the patch and what's come from it, the negatives and the positives, and just my overall kind of opinions. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. So I've got some negatives and I got some positives about this patch, the 0.13 patch on Tarkov. I'm going to start off with the negatives, and then we'll go into the positives because there's quite a few actually. There is a fair few, so it's good to sort of end off with a positive note. But yeah, negatives. I'll start with the audio. Yes, the audio. Obviously, new into Tarkov is the Oculus audio engine. They've recently scrapped Steam Audio because of Steam Audio's developers kind of blanking them. I mean, Nikita said in the podcast that they've kind of just completely left them on red. Steam Audio devs have blanked them. They don't help them anymore. Steam Audio doesn't help BSG anymore with their Steam Audio stuff. So they said, well, they can't carry on with it because they need support from the developers to kind of implement it. So they've switched to this Oculus audio engine as kind of a last ditch effort to kind of like get something in there, to sort of get something in there quickly to work on it. So right now, at the moment, it's very much a unfinished product in terms of the audio system. It needs polishing. This obviously is probably part of the fast implementation because of the sort of the shock of Steam Audio or the Steam Audio devs not really helping them out. So it's quite a fast implementation, maybe due to deadlines of trying to get the patch out. They want to get the patch out for the drops and just their Christmas wipe, you know, because people were getting pretty tired of the previous wipe. There wasn't much happening. It was a pretty dead wipe, in my opinion, as well. So they want to get this out to kind of, you know, liven up the game, which I think it definitely has, 100%. So there's about 5 maps that don't have Oculus Audio implemented: Shoreline, Labs, Interchange, Reserve, and Lighthouse. So if you're playing those maps, you might notice that there's a bit of weird stuff going on with the verticality of the audio and just general kind of audio in general. I think Oculus Audio as an engine has good potential to be a positive sort of asset to this game. You have a sort of a dampening, muffled effect when people are behind walls or around corners, or like lower floors, upper floors. You have this dampening effect. Previously, you wouldn't really hear anyone on other floors. You just wouldn't hear anything at all. It's nice to have that option now, and I think as they polish it, as they go through it, and they get to grips with this new engine, we'll start to see a lot more improvements. So it's just patience. So moving on, we have the rubber banding. Yes, that is quite a large issue, I feel like, especially on the Streets of Tarkov map. Going through the performance as well, Streets of Tarkov has its performance issues, but the rubber banding doesn't really help. And now obviously it's really bad on Streets, can get really bad. I've tried to change servers. Sometimes it's better than others. I'm not sure what to do with it. I don't know. It is a thing. I'm not a server technician or engineer. I have no idea what it is, but it's gotten worse over time. It was a thing previously. It's gotten worse. So hopefully, again, they can fix it. Again, it is a negative part of this patch, so it's worth noting. So moving on to the next point about performance issues and RAM memory leak issues. There's a lot of talk about sort of like it being a memory leak or whatever. All I know is that it holds onto my RAM, that like it soaks up some of the RAM, keeps going, soaks it up to the point where I need to restart my game, right? In the past, I had 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I had to restart my game every 2 hours. That was probably two or 3 apps ago, I want to say. Currently now, if I play Streets of Tarkov or Lighthouse, I play those maps, and then after that, I should restart my game. Otherwise, the next time I play those maps, it gets worse and then worse. And then on this, maybe the third play of that map, my PC starts to do all sorts of weird things. My browser crashes, Discord crashes. It's bad. That's an issue that we currently have, especially when you play Streets or Lighthouse. Just take note of it. I don't have any issues. If I play Customs, Shoreline, Woods, whatever, I can play that for the whole day. The whole day without restarting, and I'm fine. Obviously, it's nice to restart the game because it helps out a bit every sort of few hours, as I said, but I can play that for the whole day without any FPS issues. When I start to play Streets, that's when the issues start to creep in. So if you play Streets a bit, or like maybe a scav run and then go to your Customs quests, make sure you restart your game before you start Streets again. I currently have 32 gigs of RAM as well, just so that you guys understand what I'm working with. And I guess the fourth negative about this patch, but it's not really just this patch, honestly, cheaters. Yes, let's not call them hackers, by the way. They don't hack. They don't hack a thing. They just buy the cheats online and they cheat. They are cheating. They are cheaters. It's kind of the same as before. I feel like there's not really a big change. It's kind of the same thing as what we had previously. We see them maybe like once a day. I mean, at least for me, I only really see a cheater maybe once every 3 days or maybe once a week. Sometimes I have 2 in one day. It happens. It's random. It's totally random in terms of how you find them or when you find them. I feel like on EU servers anyway, there's a lot less of them. I see a lot more, at least on social media, I see a lot more North American streamers and players finding these floating people floating about, chatting on VoIP. It could just be stream snipers. A lot of times these larger streamers, obviously, they have their influence. People find them, they find their names, they know the servers they're on. They go and sort of harass them and make clips and funny clips. You see daily clips online, and that kind of elevates your assumption that there is a lot more cheaters than there actually is. Just take that into account. Just think of your own experiences, and that's what matters, right? If you have loads of cheaters, then I'm sorry, it might just be that day. If it's not that day, then I don't know. I'm not sure. Obviously, Tarkov, there are incentives to cheating because of the RMT issue, real money trading, that is. So where people buy items or money online for real money, dollars, pounds, euros, for in-game currency, for rubles, for in-game dollars. As I said, just reference your own experiences, right? When you play, how many do you see? Ignore online, ignore everyone else and what they're seeing. What do you see? What do you see online? If it's loads, let me know, please. Like, where are you from? Where do you play from? If you don't get that many, again, let me know in the comments. Where are you? Where do you play from? Because I'd love to know. This is actually quite an interesting topic. So moving on to the positives of this patch. Now, there is quite a few. I'm quite surprised I found this many. The first one, Streets of Tarkov. It is an absolute masterpiece of a map. And anyone that says otherwise is lying or they're joking. Have you ever seen this detailed of a map in an online multiplayer FPS shooter like Tarkov? I don't think so. Where? Who? Tell me, please tell me in the comments. Name the game and I will look at it because I need to see it. It's impressive. It honestly is impressive. Streets is just such a living, breathing world where there's so much going on. There's so much to look at, so many different little like bits of kind of like lore and like graffiti and the rubbish and it just feels so real. It is so far beyond other maps that we have in Tarkov right now. I can't compare it. It's just such a full experience. And knowing that this is only the first iteration of maybe 4 to 6 more additions onto that map. You can kind of tell by the size of it. We have 15 to 17 players maximum on this map right now. And they aim to get about 40 players on the map. It just tells you of the size and the sheer scale of this thing. Now moving on, there is a huge change to what items are on traders in terms of high tier items. They've taken off a lot of the high tier items from traders like your BP ammo, your M61, the 55A1 from Skier. You can still buy it from Peacekeeper, but still, there's a lot of items that aren't now on traders that you could previously buy in the previous wipes. This obviously helps massively with the meta. It changes the mid to late game meta so much and prolongs that early feeling of the wipe. There's less use of the best items, which allows you to survive longer and also get better PvP fights that are prolonged and more fulfilling. It also means you get more excitement when finding these items in raid, like slicks, like the ammunition. It all adds up, to a really more fulfilling experience when you find these items in raid. And now players actually have to play the game to actually find these items. Going from like sort of a MMO game where you say like World of Warcraft, we actually have to sort of go into and play these raids to actually get the best items. Right? Same thing with Tarkov. Now you have to go into the raid and actually play the game to actually get these items that you would deem as the best items in the game. And also you can make these things in the hideout too, like ammunition. You can make the BP rounds in the hideout, the M61 rounds in the hideout, along with many others in the hideout. Obviously, at the moment you can buy items off the flea market to make these things in the hideout. So technically you don't need to go into raid technically, but it's always best to go into raid to kind of like search for these things, find these things, and you might find yourself finding a lot more of them in the future because they might boost up the spawn rates. I think they pretty much have already. I've heard of people finding Riz T's in raid, which would never happen before because it didn't spawn in raid until this wipe. So the next positive of the 0.13 patch is the Hideout, or the Hideout expansions, and the gym. And we've never really seen something like this before. But yeah, essentially it is a totally risk-free way of getting skill points for strength, endurance, and even health, because health levels through strength and endurance anyway, so you kind of get that as a bonus. And now the other Hideout expansion is the level 3 fire range. Obviously it was only one level, the fire range, before. Now it goes to level 2 and then level 3. I think level 3 really is the be-all end-all of it. It's really good. It has a passive across the board 10% increase to your combat skills just passively. As you're leveling it, it'll increase 10% faster. But there's a lot of options in terms of like practicing your tracking of targets and your shooting whilst moving targets, or shooting moving targets downrange. Lightkeeper as well, that's the new in-raid trader. You might have already seen him due to a bug or something on YouTube if you've seen some of the videos. I've tried to stay away from those videos to avoid spoilers. To me, it just seems like a lot of these positive points in the patch 13 patch for Tarkov aren't really spoken about. We see a lot of like negative things about the audio, about the cheaters, about the lag and the performance. I get tired of saying it. I just want to be a positive voice in this pool filled with negative stuff. So I want to try and just bring some positivity about it. I think this patch has so much promise. When they get streets out, which they have streets out now, we should hopefully see a lot more content patches, a lot more fixes coming in the very near future and faster. There was a bottleneck with streets where they had to get streets out to then continue on with the content. It's just, there's so many positive things that just never heard, because obviously the most negative voices are the ones that are so loud. Try and stay positive, try and enjoy it. It's such a unique experience to any other game you'll ever play. Especially now with Streets of Tarkov in there. It's just normal games that here with map design that's pretty good, and then you have Streets of Tarkov, like just another level on top. I feel like I need to put that out there because that's how I genuinely feel. If you guys enjoyed this video, again, make sure to like, subscribe for more of these in the future. I guess more honest opinions, more, I guess, positive opinions about Tarkov. More guides coming as well. I want to get out a Shootborn Heaven on Streets guide as well, so that's coming in the near future. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.